Immigration is Jeb Bush. They come out of an act of love, whether you like it or not. He is so weak on illegal immigration, it's laughable, and everybody knows it.
Standard operating procedure to disparage me. That's fine. I don't really
spend
care
a little
about
more
it.
money on the
I can handle
commercials.
it. But if you want to talk about weakness,
He also
the simple
said
fact
about
is,
language.
I've laid out my plans.
He said
as it
about
relates to
language. My
immigration.
language. 2 days ago, he said he would take his pants off and moon everybody, and that's fine. Nobody reports that. He gets up and says that, and then he tells me, "Oh, my language was a little bit rough."
Okay.
My language.
Governor Kasich.
Give me a break.
Governor Kasich.
Right now, today, as a candidate, he supports federal taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood. I disagree with him on that. That's a matter of principle, and I'll tell you.
You are the single biggest liar. You probably are worse than Jeb Bush. You are the single biggest liar.
All right.
This guy lied. Let me just tell you, this guy lied about Ben Carson when he took votes away from Ben Carson in Iowa, and he just continues. And today, we had robocalls saying Donald Trump is not going to run in South Carolina, where I'm leading by a lot. I'm not going to run. Vote for Ted Cruz. This is the same thing he did to Ben Carson. This guy will say anything. Nasty guy. Now I know why he doesn't have one endorsement from any of his colleagues.
All right, John, I get
Senator
to
Cruz,
respond.
pick from the buffet there.
He's a nasty guy.
Well, I will, liar. If you want to go,
Where did I support it? Where did I support it?
If you want to go,
hey Ted, where did I
If you
support
want to
it?
go and watch the video, go to our website,
Ted,
tedcruz.org.
where
You
did I
can see
support it, Ted?
Out
No, don't
of
tell me about
Donald's
a
own
video.
mouth. When we
Where
were
did I support it?
You supported it when we were battling over defunding Planned Parenthood. You went on
That's
television
a lot
and
of
said
nonsense.
Planned Parenthood does wonderful things and we should not defund them.
Oh, it does do wonderful
And-
things,
and-
but not as it relates to abortion.
So tell
They
me, what
do
are the
some-
wonderful
excuse
things?
me,
What are the wonderful
excuse
things
me.
it does?
There are wonderful things having to do with women's health.
You see,
but
you and I
not when it
disagree
comes
on that.
to abortion. Not
John,
when it comes
the
to
reason
abortion.
principle matters.
That's where I draw the
John,
line.
the reason principle. If Donald Trump is president, he will appoint liberals. If Donald Trump is president, your Second Amendment will go away.
Hold on, before.
And you know
Let
how
me
I
tell
know
you.
that?
Hold on, gentlemen.
Ted
I'm going to
Cruz
turn this
wanted
car around.
John Roberts, Ted Cruz, with your brother, wanted John Roberts to be in the United States Supreme Court. They both pushed him. He twice approved Obamacare.
All right, gentlemen.
Good going, man.
My name.
I did not nominate John Roberts. I would not have nominated
You
John
pushed
Roberts.
him. You
I
pushed him.
supported
You
him
worked
once
with
he
him
was
and you
appointed.
pushed him. Why do you lie?
Donald,
Why do you
adults
lie?
learn not to interrupt each other.
Why do you lie?
Donald learned.
You pushed him.
Donald, adults learn not to interrupt each other.
Yeah, I know. You're an adult. Because I run a company.
Yeah,
I never went bankrupt. Excuse me, Jeb.
Yeah.
For example, you're the only person on the stage that's ever been fined for hiring people to work on your projects illegally. You hired some workers
No,
from
I'm the
Poland.
only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody. And by the way, I've hired tens of thousands of people over my job. You've hired
you've hired
nobody.
1,000 people
You've
from
had
another
nothing
company,
but problems
from another
with your
country.
credit cards, etc.
Let me
So
say,
don't
let
tell
me just
me
say,
about
well,
that.
let me, and he had to pay $1 million or so in a judgment
That's wrong.
for hiring.
That's
It is,
wrong.
That's a fact.
Totally wrong.
What,
Over my lifetime, tens of
Many
thousands.
from other
Be-
countries
be
instead of
quiet.
hiring
Just
Americans.
Be quiet. Let me talk. I've hired tens of thousands of people. I can only say this, and I've said it loud and clear, and I've said it for years. And many of these people are sitting right in the audience right now, your lobbyists and your special interests and your donors, because the audience is packed with them, and they're packed with you. I got along with everybody. You get along with nobody. You don't have one Republican. You don't have one Republican senator, and you work with them every day of your life, although you skipped a lot of time. These are minor details. But you don't have one Republican senator backing you, not one. You don't have the endorsement of one Republican senator, and you work with these people.
Senator Cruz.
You should be ashamed of yourself. Here's a man, Robin Hood. This is Robin Hood over here. He talks about corruption on his financial disclosure form. He didn't even put that he's borrowed money from Citibank and from Goldman Sachs, which is a total violation. He didn't talk about the fact that he pays almost no interest. He just left it off, and now he's going to protect the people from the big bad banks.
We're going to
Give
move
me a
on
break.
to Governor Kasich.
Now, the wall is $10 billion to $12 billion if I do it. If these guys do it, it'll end up costing $200 billion.
Well, then make them in
That
America.
makes it well, you don't know anything about business. You lose
Well,
on
make them
everything
in
you do.
America.
Let me just tell you, they devalue their currencies. Here's a guy that buys a house for $179,000. He sells it to a lobbyist who's probably here for $380,000, and then legislation is passed. You tell me about this guy.
You draw maps
and you
around
don't
it.
know what it
What
means.
is your plan?
That's the problem.
What is
don't
your
know.
plan on health care? You
The
don't have
biggest
a
problem.
plan.
The biggest
Well, what
problem
is-
he
I'll
doesn't
give
know.
you 1 minute
The
of my
biggest
time to tell me
problem
his
he's
plan.
got is he
What's his
doesn't know.
plan?
You know, I watched him melt down 2 weeks ago with Chris Christie. I got to tell you, the biggest problem he's got is he really doesn't know about the lines, plans.
But now he's repeating himself.
No, I'm not repeating. No. In talking about repeating, I watched him repeat himself 5 times 4 weeks ago. But I will not allow people to die on the sidewalks and the streets of our country if I'm president. You may let it, and you may be fine
So
with
does
it.
the government pay
I'm
for
not
everyone's
fine
health
with
care?
it. I sort of have to laugh when Ted makes a big deal out of the fact that he's doing well in the polls. Well, I'm beating him in virtually every poll. I'm tied in Texas, by the way, which I shouldn't be, but I think I'll do very well. But a poll just came out, a Bloomberg poll, where I am beating him so badly that it's like embarrassing even for me to say I'm beating him that badly. I just got 36% of the vote, right? I just got 46% on another one. I got 38% on another one. That means, and he got 20 and 22, and he lost in South Carolina so badly. That was going to be his stronghold. He said a year ago, oh, I can't lose South Carolina. I beat him in a landslide. Last week in Nevada, I beat him in a landslide. And he's saying about the polls. What other thing? Hillary Clinton, take a look at USA Today, take a look at the Q poll. I beat her, and I beat her badly, and I haven't even started on her. I only had one little interchange. She said I was sexist, and believe me, they had a rough weekend that weekend between Bill and Hillary. They had a rough weekend.
But you're not beating Hillary.
Well, then if I can't beat her, you're really going to get killed, aren't you? So let me ask you this, because you're really getting beaten badly. I know you're embarrassed. I know you're embarrassed, but keep fighting, keep swinging, man. Swing for the fences. I'm a negotiator. I've done very well over the years. In all fairness, Marco is not a negotiator. I watched him melt down, and I'll tell you, it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen. He's not going down.
He thinks the Palestinian is a real estate deal.
And these people may even be tougher than Chris Christie, okay? There is nobody on this stage that has done more for Israel than I have. Nobody. You might say, you might talk, your politicians all talk, no action. I've been watching it all my life. And what I've seen up here, I mean, first of all, this guy's a choke artist, and this guy's a liar. You have a combination.
This guy always goes.
You have a combination of factors. He can't do it for the obvious reason, and he can't do it because he doesn't know how to tell the truth. Other than that, I rest my case.
This is the typical thing he does.
I watched what this man did to Dr. Ben Carson, who I respect, in Iowa, where he said that Ben Carson is out of the race. He has left Iowa, and he's out of the race. And I thought it was disgraceful. And got a lot of votes because of that. A lot of votes took him away from Ben Carson. I watched that. Probably took him away from me, too. But I watched it. I also watched where he did a form that looked like it came right out of a government agency. And it said on top, voter violation. And then it graded you, and it scared the hell out of people. And it said the only way you clear up the violation, essentially, is to go and vote for Ted Cruz. I watched that fraudulent document, and I said it's the worst thing I've ever seen in politics. To me, that was even worse than what he did to Ben.
Senator Cruz.
I know
Donald,
I know politicians, believe it or not, better than you do, and it's not good.
You've been funding liberal Democratic politicians, and by the way,
I funded
you.
I funded him.
You're welcome to have the check back.
I funded this guy.
Because let's
I
be
gave
clear.
him a check.
Yeah, you gave me
him a check.
$5,000. Donald,
Thank you for the book. Go ahead.
Donald, you can get back on your meds
There's a lot of fun
now.
up here tonight, I have to tell you. Thank you for the book. I really appreciate it.
Donald, relax.
Go ahead. I'm relaxed. You're the basket case. Go ahead. Go ahead. Don't get nervous. Go ahead.
I promise you, Donald, there's nothing about you that makes anyone nervous.
You're losing
people
so
are actually
badly.
watching this.
You don't know what's happening.
Gentlemen.
I also happen to call him a lightweight, okay, and I have said that, so I would like to take that back. He's really not that much of a lightweight. Just for the record, I've won 10. He's won 3 or 4. This little guy has lied so much about my record.
Here we go. Answer the economy
You haven't
question.
employed in your life one
But he
person.
doesn't answer
I've
the
employed
economy
tens
question.
of thousands of people.
You've bankrupted 4 companies.
You haven't employed one person.
You ever heard of Trump?
Policy question for you, sir.
Let's see if he answers it.
I will. Don't worry about it, Marco. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, little Marco. I will.
All right, well, let's hear Big Don. Donald.
Don't worry about it,
All right, wait.
Don't worry about it, little Marco.
Gentlemen.
But if, in fact, you went to Manhattan and said, I'm lying to the American people, then the voters have a right to know.
No, you're the
because
liar.
we've been
You're the
lied
lying
to
guy up
too
here.
many times.
You're the
Why don't you
one.
release the
You're the
tape
one.
then? Release the
You're
tape.
the one. Now, let
Why
me just
are
tell you.
what
Let
are
me
you
just
hiding
say,
in the
excuse
tape?
me. I've given my answer, Lion Ted. I've given my answer.
What
All
are
right,
you
let's leave it
hiding?
at
Excuse me. The real con artist is Senator Marco Rubio, who
only
was
con
elected
artist
in
is
Florida
Donald
and who has the worst voting record in the United States Senate. He doesn't go to vote. He's absent. He doesn't go. Now, the